from New York is over the Oscar gaffe, and he's with us on a Friday morning. Good morning, Jason Nathanson.
Not sure how I follow all that stuff, but yes.
Before we get to some of the movies, are you hearing the same buzz about Feud, Betty and Joan, that I'm hearing?
Yes, lots of, and I can tell you, I have seen the first episode, and I can tell you it is fantastic. Another hit from Ryan Murphy and company, the guys behind the O.J. Simpson miniseries on FX and American Horror Story as well. This is their new series, Feud, which they will examine a new feud every season, in pop culture or whatever. The second season they just announced this week is going to be Prince Charles and Princess Diana, so that's going to be interesting. But this one, starting on Sunday, is Joan Crawford and Betty Davis. It's a story which I don't really know a whole lot about. I've heard, I know the basics, but I don't know the backstory. And this is, especially for a guy like me who covers Hollywood, it's fascinating. And if you've lived through it, if you're aware of it, I mean, you're going to learn stuff that you don't know. And just great performances by Susan Sarandon and the rest of the cast. It's really, really good. All
right, good. Let's get to a couple of movies here real quick. Logan or The Shack? Which one's better?
Logan. I mean, it's not even a contest. At least what's going to win the weekend. Logan this is the third movie, the standalone X-Men Wolverine movie starring Hugh Jackman.
Okay.
Also his last appearance in the franchise. He's been Wolverine for 17 years now, and it's time to hang up his claws. But this movie is getting 93% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Jeez. Everybody seems to love it. It's going to win the weekend. It's going to make a lot of money, over $60 million. And this is the first of these movies that is actually R-rated. The first two were PG-13. They've moved this one into R, which means a lot more blood and a lot more guts.
Okay, well, so with that being said, it sounds like The Shack isn't very good.
No, the Shack is not. It's based on a very popular best-selling book from like 10, 15 years ago. This stars Sam Worthington as a dad who loses his daughter, and he gets an invitation to meet with God at a place called The Shack. It also stars Octavia Spencer, so it's it's a little mystical drama, and it's only getting 19% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. People have not been too kind about it. So
all right, fair enough.
If that's your kind of thing, go see it. But yeah.
Lastly, Jason, you were there Sunday night for the Oscars debacle. It's now had a couple days to digest. Any final thoughts on what was an amazing night?
I mean, it's all anybody's ever going to talk about out of these Oscars. And I was going back and watching certain things, and, you remember, oh, yeah, Justin Timberlake opened the thing. Does anybody remember that? No.
Right.
Nobody cares about that. Nobody's ever going to talk about that again. It'll be interesting to see if this prompts any kind of changes at all in the way they do stuff with the two envelope. And, in this day of technology and cell phones and everything, do we really need envelopes? Is that the best way to be opening and finding out winners? Is there a better way? And I think they're actually seriously going to look at that. I don't know if anything's actually going to change, but they're going to be reviewing those policies, and it'll be interesting to see if they stick with PricewaterhouseCoopers or not.
Well, and I guess that guy isn't going to do the Oscars anymore, right? The one guy.
And this is the biggest travesty in all of it. Not only is he not going to do it, and he's the guy who screwed up. He gave the wrong envelopes. But his partner, Martha Ruiz, the other woman on the other side of the stage, she doesn't get to come back either. Yeah. She didn't do anything wrong. That's not her fault. It's his fault. So I don't understand why she gets the boot.
Yeah, they dragged her into it.
Yeah. So basically, it's her and Billy Bush who have been destroyed by other people.
Taken down wrongly, and I think this is sexism. I think this is,
it's also Bushism too.
Yes, I'm going to leave that one alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, I stumped him. He was speechless.
You did.
Jason, have a good week. Thanks for checking in.
You too, guys.
All right, 825 here, Big 550 KTRS. He's got a point. The guy loses.
Yes.
He's still going to work at PricewaterhouseCoopers, but he's not going to. He's not going to be handing out the envelopes. I would make the argument, keep the envelopes, because Russia can't hack into an envelope.
That is true.
Right? Once all of a sudden it's online and tweeting and everything else, then all of a sudden it's out and open and everyone's going to know about it.
But I agree. The poor woman, she really seemingly didn't do anything.
She didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
825, Big 550, KTR, 25. Appliance discounters, ladies.